So here we are talking about Chainsaw Man. Guys, I think as the title suggests, I want to apologize not only to the community, but like to me judging a book by its would you apologize? Never mind, we're not gonna focus on that. But I wanted to start off by saying that I always wanted, like, I should apologize to the franchise for making a bad assumption that I assumed when everybody was hyping up Chainsaw Man, talking about Chainsaw Man, how great it is, how unique it is, that it was all the hype. And you know, and the reason why I have that kind of mentality in the first place is because I have this tendency to get burned by people when they overhype stuff and then it doesn't deliver on what I was promised. I'm not gonna call out any you know, new gen shonen, but typically none of them are necessarily bad, but you know, they're like, it's like copy and paste to me, you know, just different element. You know, there's magic, here's curses, here's all this, you guys know what I mean. But Chainsaw Man was none of that. It kind of had a unique, a very artistic, very abstract, very out of this world take on the shonen genre. And guys, I am so ready for part 2, but we're gonna talk about part 2 at the end. Let's start first talking about Denji. Denji. Oh my god. First off, I want to say he is probably my favorite MC from the new gen of Shonen Jump. Pay attention to what I'm saying. Shonen Jump. So don't take it out of context. Shonen Jump. So we're talking about Senku, we're talking about Itadori, we're talking about Asta, we're talking about Deku, everything along those lines. Now, I know some of you might come across this videos like, bro, what do you mean? Denji's just a simp. What do you mean? Denji really do? Bro, I think there's something so fascinating behind the scenes of Denji's progression as a character that a lot of people overlook. And at first, when I first finished the series, you know, it's something that you gotta really give thought to. When I first finished the series, I was thinking in the similar fashion. It's like, was there really something there for Denji? And if you just brush it off and don't really think about it too much, it is. But something that really helped me was this Twitter thread that I read through, and I kind of had all these ideas in mind, but they really put it in perspective when I read this thread, and really helped me out myself. So shout out to that person. But essentially along this thread, it talks about the subtleties and the continuous growth of Denji's character and how he progressed as a person. He went from this guy, like, and like, I think a lot of people, like, you know, chalk him up as this perverted simp, right? And you could easily do that with any character, but I think what makes Denji so fascinating is that yes, he has those attributes, but that's not what makes him all that. Like, he goes from this guy who's completely lonely, he has no one, he's tasted like no sense of, like, you know, what we consider as basic human rights. But then as we start getting introduced to characters, he starts giving these things: a friendship, someone to look up to, an idol, a lover. You know, he meets like Reze. Shout out to Reze, my waifu. I don't have too much to say on Reze because, you know, I want to save that for part 2. Hopefully that she comes back in part 2. But Reze, you know, really changed perspective. Like, you know, she made his heart beat. He was given us like sibling roles. I'm gonna dive a little bit deeper into some certain characters, but like, he was giving siblings, he was given a lover, he was, you know, shown what it means to have human connection and sought after, and then also ripped apart. So when those connections were ripped apart, he experienced loss, he experienced what it is to lose someone. He experienced all these things so fast, so quickly, and it's hard to miss when you're either reading this weekly, or sorry, I should say it's easy to miss when you're reading this weekly or you're not paying too much attention to it. And I found that so fascinating, and I know that as the series continues, Fujimoto has some amazing plans with Denji as a character, and how is he going to continue to grow as a human, learn, like, you know, what's part of being a human. Now let's go a little bit into a character that I like to call my personal favorite in this series. We're talking about Aki. Wow, guys, again, if you're this far into the video, like, spoiler warning. If you have made it this far, click off or skip ahead if you don't want to be spoiled, because I'm gonna be dropping a very big spoiler. All right, with that being said, Aki versus Denji. Guys, I think it's not a crazy thing for me to say that this is easily the most emotional fight of the new generation. From My Hero to this point, like wherever 2021 has us at, is probably one of the most emotional fights I've seen, and the abstract and metaphorical way that he did it. I find Aki such a fascinating character, and I actually didn't think I was gonna find him that much of a fascinating character, because I typically don't like the Deuteragonist, or like the second hand, or the whatever you want to call him, the Deuteragonist, as I think is the term, the second hand, the edgy character. Shout out to Killua, by the way, the all-time greatest of Deuteragonist. But Aki has been so fascinating to me because from the very beginning, when you first get his backstory, it was a very simple backstory. You know, he lost everyone in his family and he was on a path of revenge, right? And the moment that he lost everybody, he was just about to have a snowball fight with his brother. Now, like, you guys might be thinking, okay, why did you need to mention that? I'm gonna go into it. Then, you know, as Aki starts spending time with Power and Denji, he starts realizing, it's like, hold up, I'm building a new family here. Maybe I don't need to chase revenge because I'm able to find peace within myself, be able to move on and find another family. But lo and behold, that man gets that all ripped apart from him, and in the most sad and messed up way, where he's taken back to that snowball fight where he was, you know, but instead of his brother, it's with his new family. It's with Denji and Power. But not only is he not having that thing, he's doing the thing that he was seeking to do the furthest thing from. He is massacring Japan. He's potentially about to kill Power. He's about to kill Denji. And then Denji, in reverse, for his own sake, has to take Aki out. And Aki doesn't even know it. Aki's out in his snowball fight, having like the time of his life, while he's doing the worst thing that he could possibly do, and he doesn't even know it. It is the most poetic and sad thing ever. And to end it off, the final page for Aki, here he is, his brother comes running out of the house, having the snowball fight he always wanted with his brother before he lost his first blood family. That is absolutely genius and brilliant and amazing to like for a character arc to have like such a short wrap up. Bro, I hope that somehow the Gun Devil and Aki can come back. I don't know how, but if they can make it happen, because I'm sure you know, Denji's gonna be going after Reze and Power. Hopefully Aki will come back, but at the same time, if Aki doesn't, that's perfectly fine, because, you know, a lot of people say, oh, like the stakes were removed. So if Aki doesn't come back, I'm perfectly fine with it as well. I'm good for either, as long as Fujimoto could do it well, if he comes back or not. When it comes to Power, I have not too much to say on Power. She's a great character. You know, her progression from a character who couldn't give two shits about Denji if he died or not, to developing these feelings, not romantic ones, but like family related feelings of, you know, caring about Denji to the point where she's putting her own life on the line so that Denji could live. Great stuff, great sibling duo. Can't wait to see her back in the series. Now let's talk about Makima. what a character you are, Makima. She is a sicko, a menace to society, and I'm so glad that Denji put her down. And in a sense, I think it's also very beautiful. Like, Fujimoto makes all these characters so poetic, and I have to give him his roses. This man did it, man. For like, I didn't think Makima was gonna be like, I don't think she got redeemed, but I think there's an interesting side to her, right? Because she was, you know, chasing death by chainsaw, which was so interesting. Like, she was so obsessed with the chainsaw man, not Denji, chainsaw man, right? And it was so fascinating to see her so obsessed with the chainsaw man, and she clearly knows something more about, like, that we haven't been given yet. There's something more to explore there, hence why we're only 1/3 or halfway through the story, or however long Fujimoto plans to go. But she's fascinating, man. She, you know, in a very messed up way, put our characters through the ringer. Did a lot of messed up things to a lot of our favorite characters. She did shit to Reze, to Aki, to Power, literally anyone that we possibly, like, you know, build a connection with in the series. She kind of ripped them all apart. And seeing that now she's like a little sister, almost like a daughter to Denji, like the way he's gonna be taking care of her, because it's like, well, Makima as a personality, as far as we know, is dead, right? Now we have, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, her name is Noya, correct me if I'm wrong, I think I might have gotten that wrong. And she's just like the devil itself now, the control devil. Now Denji is gonna give her that life that she possibly never got, right? Because it seemed like she was just chasing this idea of comfort that she never got, right? And the story that or like the message that the series Chainsaw Man like tries to portray, especially at the very end when like you see Denji hugging her when they're laying in bed, is sometimes all a human really needs to not get like thrown off to the deep end is a hug. All a human needs is that connection to feel like, you know, someone not to go off the bad path. And Makima is a character that we don't fully understand yet. Hopefully they dive deeper into, but I find it so fascinating that, you know, it portrays it in a way, because and who to understand it more than Denji, right? Someone at the very beginning of the series laying there lonely in the junkyard here understands that you know, side of loneliness, and he's the only one that can understand that, right? As the series stands, and provide her that hug that he never got at the beginning of the series that he needed. You know, that, you know, if we count Pochita, but you guys know what I mean. All right, I've been rambling for a long time. I absolutely love Chainsaw Man. It is like, if you guys are wanting and wondering for my rating, it is a solid 8 out of 10. It's very good. I'm excited for part 2. I want to see how this journey comes to an end. I'm excited for Fujimoto to come back with part 2 with this whole slice of life arc school shit. That sounds really exciting to me. Seeing Denji continue to develop these relationships, understand what school is, get educated, become smarter. A smart Denji is a very scary character, guys. You guys need to put that into perspective. A smart Denji is a very scary character. I hope Reze comes back, Power comes back, all that great stuff. Other than that, I have no idea where he's gonna take the series. I'm excited for that Chainsaw Man PV. I'm sure if you guys want to see that, I'll make a reaction to it. Hope to God it looks absolutely amazing. I'm excited for that PV for Chainsaw Man anime. And yeah, guys, I'll catch you guys later. Thank you so much for watching. Peace out.